The long wait for a Shimano compatible power meter pedal from Italian bike brand Favero is finally over, because here they are. So brand new, just launched today, and in this video I'll go through what I like to use, having used them for the last couple of weeks now, go through the good and the not so good, and whether these are the pedals for you to buy if you want to upgrade your cycling game with some power meter pedals. So let's dive in. So I won't do an unboxing because other channels do that much better than me. Instead, let's dive straight into what really matters, using these pedals and what they like to live with. And here they are. Now, as you can see, they look very similar to the previous Look pedals, which have been around for 1 or 2 years now. And I've been using these for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And some very strong similarities. As you can see, a similar pedal pod, which where all the power meter gubbins is, all the electronics, and the strain gauges are in this pedal axle assembly here. A couple of big differences though, where these arrive in a box like this, as you see them, ready to go. Put the cleats on your shoes, put these on your bike, do the 0 offset, and off you go. These unfortunately require some assembly, because when you buy them, what arrives in the box are just the pedal axles. That means you need to find some donor Shimano pedals, either buy some new ones or have some old ones lying around, and then take the pedal axle out and put the new one in. Now, luckily, it's not as scary as it sounds. It's a really easy job. It took me 2 minutes, following the really simple instructions, which are much easier than any IKEA flat pack furniture you might have used in the past. So all you need are 2 spanners. Follow the instructions carefully, and within 2 or 5 minutes, you'll have your power meter pedals ready to go. And then the experience is very similar to Look, because apart from the pedal body difference, the fundamental technology within the pod is the same. So that means the same power meter measuring accuracy and consistency that these have proven to be very good at over the last few years, and certainly in my experience. I'm using these with Ultegra pedals, but they are compatible with R8000, R7000, R6800, 5500 and 5400 pedal bodies. So pretty much every Shimano SPD SL on the market at the moment. The power meter tech does add weight to the pedals. So the axles on their own are 99 grams on my scales versus 66 for the ones that came out of the Ultegra pedals. And on the scales, you're looking at about the same weight as the Look ones, 157 versus 153, and about 30 grams heavier than a regular Ultegra one there. So not much weight for all the potential performance you're getting that a power meter does offer. So I've been using these for the last couple of weeks, and they deliver the same performance that I've come to expect from the Look ones, and that's no surprise given the technology within the pods is the same. So they're 1% accurate, and in my testing using familiar roads and routes and testing against other power meters and using a heart rate monitor and other metrics, they give me the consistent and accurate and reliable data I want and expect from a power meter. So far I've seen no issue to suggest there's any discrepancy in data compared to the previous Look version. I'm using the power meters on the same bike and using them on different bikes on the same day and different days, and riding the same routes and the hills and descents to really get my head around these. And so far I can't see any issue with the power these are delivering, just as reliable as I've come to expect from these Look pedals. So in terms of these living up to the reputation that these have, which judging by comments on my first look at the pedals a few months ago, is very, very good indeed. I've been using them for 3 weeks or so, and it's been pretty dry here, so not had the usual British rain to ride them through, but so far the bearings are smooth, not had any issues with them coming loose after installation, just being reliable. Fit them, do the 0 offset, and then you're ready to ride, and every time you ride they're just ready to go. No issue with them dropping data or giving you mad spikes or anything like that. So nice, reliable, consistent and accurate data, and that's what you want from a power meter like this. One of the benefits of this pod system is easy recharging by this wireless dongle here, which connects onto there, as simple as that. And the battery life on these is excellent as well. In my testing, it's the same as the Look ones. They're claimed 50 hours, so that's easily, for me, about 4 weeks of riding at the moment, but I charge them up every couple of weeks, every fortnight, just to be on the safe side. So really easy to do. You can use the mains or plug the USB into an external battery pack if you keep your bikes in the garage or a shed as well, so nice and easy. Just like the previous, or current pedal should I say, these are left and right power measuring, so dual-sided, and that gives you the level of data and detail you want if you want to really dive into your power and get the best out of your power meter pedals to ensure you take your training, your racing to the next level. And there's loads of dynamics you can do through the company's own smartphone app and through Garmin and Wahoo computers where enabled. So you can really analyze your pedaling stroke, where you're applying power, where it really matters in the strokes. You can really kind of fine tune your riding and ensure you're riding as efficiently as possible using a power meter pedal. Let's talk about price. They cost €495 without VAT, and the VAT is different in each country in Europe, so that might differ, but in the region of 19 to 21%. So best go to their website and see what the cost comes out at when you put in where you live to get the final cost. But pretty competitive price point as these have been in the past. But of course you do have to factor in a set of Shimano pedals, which you might have lying around the house, or you might buy a new set. So based on several weeks of riding, the performance is good. Nice, reliable, accurate and consistent power data delivery. Easy installation from the Shimano pedal. The weight's pretty good as well, not much of a weight penalty over a normal pedal system. And the price is very, very good too. But there is quite a big but here, and it regards the stance width, which we need to get a little bit geeky about because it's a real big downside, potential downside to these pedals over their Look ones or a regular Shimano one. So the stance width is the distance between the cranks when fitted to the bike. The distance when measured from the centre of the pedal to the centre of the avid body. That is a stance width. Not to be confused with Q factor, which is the distance between the outside face of the cranks on the bike. So stance width is the pedals and Q factor is your cranks. And the stance width can be affected by the width of the axles, the length of the axles on the pedal. Now, for the most part, most regular Shimano SPD SL or Look or Time pedals are in the region of 52 to 54 millimeters. These, however, are 65 millimeters, so about 10 millimeters wider than the normal pedals that most of us are used to. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends. There's a big question mark over your actual physical property on the bike and whether you'll be okay with a wider stance width compared to the more conventional stance width on a Shimano or even the company's own Look-based pedal system. And the reason for that increased stance width is while the pedal axles look the same with the same pod next to the thread there, they've actually had to redesign how the system works to be compatible with a Shimano pedal and to allow easy installation at home as well. Inside the technology is the same as we talked about earlier, so same power measuring technology, but the way they're fitted to the cranks is different. And the Shimano pedal itself is a bit wider than a Look system too. So it really does raise a question of how important stance width is, and there's really no easy answer. It's interesting that most of us use whatever the company offers us, so 52, 54. Some companies, including Shimano, now offer a wider stance width, 54. Some companies like Speedplay, now Wahoo, offer various axles. I think they offer 4 axles, so you get wider if you want. But most of us are restricted using what companies offer us. And given how different we all are, heights, weights, kind of physical dimensions, and we have bike fits now which really fit us to bikes and saddles and handlebars better, most of us use the same pedals. But many of us could probably benefit from a wider stance compared to the narrow. Now, it's often perceived that a narrow pedal is better on a road bike, keeps your legs in, keeps your knees in and hips in, but not everybody suits a narrow stance. Some people might actually benefit from a wider stance. And the only way to find out what stance width you need, whether you need a narrow or wider setup, is to get a professional bike fit and really analyse your bike fit and see whether a wider pedal might be better for you. Those people with naturally wide hips, large quad muscles, or those who simply don't feel comfy with their feet close together might benefit from a wider stance like these pedals offer. And really, there's no right or wrong. Whether narrow is better or wider is better, everybody is different. And all I can offer you is my experience of using these. And on the first ride, well, it felt really, really strange. I noticed the stance width straight away. Gave me a sort of John Wayne feeling on the bike. I do have quite a knee-in pedaling style, and I'm so used to the regular stance width on most pedals. I've been testing pedals for 10, 15 years and very used to the typical stance width. And I've had bike fits in the past, and wider stance width has never come up as an issue for me. Cleat alignment has always been a bigger factor, and saddle height as well. But stance width has never come up for me in the bike fits I've had in my time. So riding these was my first experience of a much wider stance than I'm used to, and it felt really strange, and it did feel alien for that first ride. I also had a bit of left knee pain on that first ride as well. Didn't get much worse, but a sort of nagging knee pain that made me cut my ride short. Now, I did persist and kept riding with them, and it's fair to say I got more used to them as the miles and rides flew by. But every time I went back to these Look Keo based pedals, I felt much more at home. I felt much more comfortable on a narrower stance. I guess because that's what I'm used to for the last 10-15 years, and it's hard to adapt to quite a fundamental change. So on paper, that 10mm might not sound like much, and you might think it's fine, but for me, I found it quite tricky, quite difficult to actually get used to. And I'll be honest, I'd rather stick with a narrow pedal of these. But that's just me, that's just my experience. You might be fine on a wider stance. You might actually benefit from a wider stance. But for me personally, I have to say I do prefer the narrow stance of their current Look pedals or a regular Shimano pedal. I don't think the wider stance works for me, but it might work for you. I guess the only thing I can say is to try them. For me, the difference between the Look and the Shimano SPD SL pedal body isn't big enough that I can't live with the Look pedals. I know some people prefer Shimano over Look, and there are differences. The float on these feels a bit freer. You've got a broader platform as well. But for me, I can quite happily live with the Looks. Engagement's good, foot retention is good, plenty of adjustment on the spring tension device there. So I can happily live with the Look Keo if it means I have a narrower stance width. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame really. I'm a bit disappointed that these do have the wide stance, because if they didn't, this video would be a lot shorter and I'd be giving a big thumbs up. It is a bit of a mixed bag then, this review, because on one hand, they're fantastic. Great performance, battery life, reliable, easy to use. You do have to factor in the cost of a Shimano pedal if you don't already have some, but they work really well. It's just a stance width is a big factor for me. And for me, I found it impossible to live with compared to the normal stance width of a regular pedal. So not for me, unfortunately, but it might be for you. But let me know what you think down below. Are you okay with stance width? Does stance width even mean anything to you? Love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Anyway, that's all for now. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the review. Maybe you found it useful, answered a few questions, maybe prompted a few more questions which you can leave down below. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed watching the video, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching.